नन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोः सलिलं सलीलं यशोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनैव ददाहलङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्ति बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसी जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेदसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना तदुपदन्तसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपणतार्थवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च वधं निशामयध्वं श्रीराघवं दशरथात्मजमप्रमेयं सीतापतिं रघुकुलान्वयरत्नदीपम् आजानुबाहुमरविन्ददलायताक्षं रामं निशाचरविनाशकरं नमामि वैदेही सहितं सुरद्रुमदले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचयति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं व्याख्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामळम् इति श्रीरामायणध्यानश्लोकं सम्पूर्णम्. You just keep it on the table. Okay. So first of all, I will start with a disclaimer. I am neither knowledgeable in Sanskrit nor knowledgeable in Tamil, unlike the speakers who presented on the past few days. So I am bound to make mistakes. So if I make any mistakes, please excuse me for this today. Today's talk will cover the part around 50 seconds from the time Rama married Sita to the time where Rama crossed Ganga around. And so we'll start with some two qualities which are associated with Rama, especially in the Vaishnava tradition. Those are called Saushilya and Saulabhya. So in the Vishnu Sahasranama there is one Namavali which comes as Sulabhas Suvrata Siddhas Shatrujit Shatrutapanah Nyagrodhodumba. Is someone who is who comes to his devotees very easily. Sulabha, easy. So even if you give him, even if you do simple puja with devotion, Sri Vishnu will come to you. So that is the quality of Saulabhya. But another quality which is called Saushilyam, which comes in, especially in today's talk, at a later point, is also a very important quality which is given to Rama by the Sri Vaishnava tradition. And there are several interpretations of the Vishnu Sahasranama Namas. Many of them are very creative. And one of the very creative interpretation given to this particular two namas called Nyagrodha and Udumbaraha. These are the two namas. Typically, I think Adi Shankaracharya also gives it as each word. He was a son of Puratarva. So he is a saint in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, who gives a very unique and very eye-opening description of this particular nama, where he combines both of the namas Nyagrodha and Udumbaraha and gives an interpretation for Nyagrodha Udumbaraha as one entity, where he says the part where Nyagrodha part devotees who stand in front of him with their folded hands. And this episode is what we will see later on in the story of Guha. And for Udumbaraha, he says he is the one who has the supreme abode with Lakshmi and all that is magnificent. So this Lord, he has everything with him. He has the supreme abode. He has a consort Lakshmi. And still, despite having all of this, he is subservient to his devotees. So this is the greatness of Lord Vishnu. Parasara Bhatta very creatively combines these two into one. And the meaning comes out as, even though Bhagavan is one who is endowed with everything that is supreme, he is just at the command of his devotees when they stand in front of him with folded hands. And this is the type of quality which Vishnu has. And that is basically characterized into one term, which is Saushilyam, which is affection as a literal meaning. And he also further explains this in his commentary, and he says, Sarva Gunahi Udgatam Ambaram Param Dhama Asya iti Udumbaraha. So he gives a meaning of Udumbaraha as Sarva Gunahi Udgatam Ambaram Param Dhama Asya iti Udumbaraha. He who has the supreme abode, Sri Vaikuntham, is Udumbaraha. The abode is supreme because it has Lakshmi and it rises above all other things by its magnificent qualities. And there is also one Alavandar Stotra in some Ratnam 28 which says, Tvadangri Muddishya Tadapi Kenachit Yatha Tatha Vapi Sakrit Kritonjalihi Tadaiva Mushnatya Subhanya Sheshataha Subhani Pushnati Najatu Gyati. So meaning is, if anyone worships your feet with folded hands, even once, at any time, under any pretense, at that very moment, all the sins of this person are driven away. And infinite auspices accumulate for this person. So this is one of the, very eye-opening commentary which I saw for this topic now. And this quality which we will see in detail today, where he shows this very quality for Guha. And this quality is also explained pretty well in Tamil, which is where they take two sets of water. So one which is basically a high water at a higher level and one which is water at a lower level. Higher level and lower level is an interpretation where the higher level stands for Paramatma or Bhagavan. The lower level stands for people like us. And when Bhagavan has the capability to interact with people like us, although he is at that higher abode. So that is what is called as the property of water that flows from a higher level to lower level. That is what is called as Neermai in Tamil. So this Neermai phrase is used to indicate this particular property of Bhagavan, which although he has everything, like if someone has everything, why will they even want to do anything for other people? So that is the greatness of Sri Vishnu. And with that preliminary comment, I'll start with what the part of the Ramayana which I'm about to cover. And yesterday Dwarakesh ended after Sita Kalyanam, where Rama wielded the Dhanush and he got married to Sita. And after that, we see an interaction of Rama with another avatar of Sri Vishnu, which is Parashurama. And just after the marriage, this is what happens. Tasmimstamasi ghoretu bhasmachhanneva sachamuhu dadarshcha bhima sankasham jata mandaladharinam bhargavam jamadagnyam tam raja raja vimardanam. So here what happens is that just after Rama got married, everybody is about to rejoice, but then they see this ghoretu bhasmachhanneva, someone who has complexion of ashes, bhasmachhanneva sachamuhu. Then Bhima Sankasham is like someone who is very fearsome. This person arrives. Jata Mandala, he has a Jadamudi on his head. And Bhargavam Jamadagnyam Chasi, this Parashurama also has another name called Bhargavarama. Jamadagnyam Tam, the son of Jamadagni. So this Parashurama arrives in the court of Janaka. And all the sages become very anxious on seeing him. And as usual, right, if some very guest who comes to your palace suddenly, without invitation, suddenly comes and that person is a big shot, then obviously you will want to, try to pacify him as quickly as possible, give him all that you want, try to talk to him and then invite him very well and all that. So that is what Vasishta and all try to do, because this is a very fearsome person, and if things go wrong, he's known for killing Kshatriyas. This is why they were pretty scared on seeing him, right? And Parashurama or Bhargava Rama is considered as the sixth incarnation of Vishnu, prior to Dasaratha Rama, which is our hero of the story. And the Parashu is an axe. So although Parashurama is someone who is a master at wielding the bow and arrow, it is said that there is no one who is equivalent to him in wielding the bow and arrow. And he was also the guru of Karna. So there is no one who is equivalent to him in this. But still, he had that type of wrath that he beheaded kings with an axe in the most brutal way, the most gruesome way, although he was a master at wielding the bow and arrow. And I think there was also a discussion yesterday about the Churnas being interchanged, because of which Parashurama, although he was born a Brahmana, he was someone who had a very Kshatriya-like qualities. Right? So this is the story of Parashurama. I'll explain a little bit more. after what happens, what Dwarakesh explained yesterday. So there was this particular king called Kartivirya Arjuna. Okay, and it is said that Kartivirya Arjuna also is some form of avatar of Vishnu. And so we see multiple avatars of Vishnu interacting here, and I'll explain what that interaction actually means. Right, so this Kartivirya Arjuna, he used Parashurama's father, who was sage Jamadagni, as a sacrificial human. And then Parashurama got extremely angry at this. How can this king use his father as a sacrificial human? He was extremely angry and he starts eliminating all of the Kshatriyas because he was extremely skilled at warfare. And he rode over the earth for 37 times, he rode over the entire earth for 37 times, eliminating all the Kshatriyas. That was how angry he was at Kshatriyas. And he even cut off the fetuses in wombs of the queens. He didn't even want new Kshatriyas to be born. This is the type of anger he had towards Kshatriyas. And no wonder this Vasishtha, they were extremely scared on seeing him, especially because there were Kshatriyas getting married and all that. Right? And so this apparently he cut and he killed so many Kshatriyas that the blood of these Kshatriyas, it became 5 streams called as Shamanta Panchaka, literally flowed as streams. And so Parashurama is, called, he's a devotee of, it's said it's a devotee of Shiva, and he was also a devotee of Devi. So he's a devotee of both Shiva and Devi. Yeah. And he acquires a lot of this divine weaponry, and he is extremely good at archery. And it is said that, and he's also a Chiranjeevi. And he said that physically, but although he is extremely good at the wielding the bow and arrow, he kills kings with an axe. That's why it's called Parashurama. Okay. So here we see that this Parashurama, he ignores all the talk of these particular rishis, Vasishtha, and all who try to talk to him. And he instead wants to talk to only Dasharatha Rama, which is Sri Rama. And it comes as this. Anisrishtam surairekam triambakaya yuyutsave tripuragnam narashtreshtham bhagnam kakutsthayatvata yatvaya. So he says, Narashtreshtha, that is, who are the best among men. Kakutstha, which is Sri Rama. Tvaya bhagnam. So basically, this yesterday Shiva wielded a particular bow, which is a bow of Rudra, which is Shiva. And now this Parashurama comes with another bow. So he says that the bow you broke was that of Triambaka or Shiva. And the bow I have now, that bow is the one which Shiva used to annihilate Tripura, the 3 cities. And he gives this challenge to Rama, saying, now you break the bow which I have in my hand. The bow you broke is that wielded by a loser. Now you have to break my bow, the bow which I have. Right? So this is the exact meaning. Oh, best one among men. One of the 2 long bows gods gave, one to restrict Triambaka, God Shiva, for a combat with Riman Tripura, and O Kakutstha, that bow alone is the annihilator of Tripura, the demon, and you have broken that alone. So there is this small type of story here which I myself don't know fully, but I just give the details. And this is some sort of story where the Trinity try to Brahma is someone who tries to instigate a fight between Vishnu and Shiva, and then to see who is superior among the 2. And Brahma says, Mahadeva, who is the destroyer of Tripura, or say triple citadels? Shiva has this ahankara that he was the one who destroyed Tripura. But Brahma asks him, why are you the one who is saying this? Right? The long arrow, the bow which Brahma used, Vishnu was the presiding deity of that bow. Because Vishnu's bow he used to annihilate Tripura. But Shiva has that type of ahankara that he himself was the one who destroyed it. Right? So then this sort of confrontation happens between the 2, and Vishnu basically uttered the single syllable hum, and after that Shiva just stood motionless. And the bow which Shiva had at that time, he stood motionless. That was given to the kingdom of Janaka, which was what was mentioned yesterday. And that is why it is called as Jrumbhitam. So it was broken by the hum descent of Vishnu. And there was a scholar called Maheshwara Tirtha who says that the bow and Shiva, both of them were rendered motionless. That is probably why the bow was slightly broken and it was given to Janaka's family. And it was given to one of the Videha kings, namely Devavrata. Devavrata was the king who got this bow. And now Parashurama had a different bow, which is basically the bow of Vishnu. And that was given to Richika. And then it was handed over to Jamadagni, who was the father of Parashurama. So here there are some nice interpretations which come in as to characterizing this interaction between Parashurama and Rama. I'll give 3 such interpretations. Okay. The first interpretation is there is a notion of Purna Avatara and Amsha Avatara, which says that Purna Avatara are the avatars which have all the qualities of Parabrahman, which is Vishnu himself. And Amsha Avatara are those avatars which have some of the qualities of Parabrahma but not all of the qualities. And it is argued that Amsha Avataras, for example, they can interact with themselves. Like Kartiveri Arjuna is considered an Amsha Avatara who interacted with Parashurama where Parashurama killed him. And it is also possible that Purna Avataras can interact with Amsha Avataras. For example, Krishna and Vyasa is one example, and Rama and Parashurama is another example. This is one interpretation. Right? And second interpretation, which is also interesting, is that there is this episode in Mahabharata, which is the famous Gita Upadesha, which is given by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. And during that time, Sri Krishna gives the Upadesha to Arjuna. It is said that time just stopped. And everybody else they were not even in the moment when this particular Gita Upadesha was given, except Sanjaya, who was able to see the battle through his third eye. And because of whom we have the recounting of the Gita Upadesha. And it is said similarly here that when Parashurama and Rama interacted, everybody else other than Dasharatha, Vasishtha and few others, everybody else was unconscious. This is similar to the battle of Mahabharata where every other person was unconscious except Arjuna and Sanjaya, the time of the Gita Upadesha. This is one type of interpretation which is given. So that people don't realize that, everybody should not know that some 2 people are the avatar of Vishnu. And if they interact, then people may come to know that they are the avatars of Vishnu. So probably because of that everybody else other than Dasharatha and all of them were just unconscious at the time of this particular incident. The third and one more interesting interpretation of this is as follows. Gandharvapsarasaschaiva siddhacharana kinnaraha yaksha rakshasa nagasha tadrashtum mahadadbhutam. Right, so this is the type of what happens when some very important event which happens in our mythology. Typically what happens is all the celestial beings will start coming and being with this particular, like they'll try to observe this incident. I think this also happens in the war between Rama and Ravana, which is a very seminal event in mythology. This is also one such event, right? When 2 avatars of Bhagavan interact. It is one of those type of events which everybody wants to come and see. So all the Gandharvas, all the Apsaras, all the Siddhas, all of Kinnaras, Yakshas, spirits, reptilian beings, you name it, all of them were there. It is like the CSK versus RCB match, right? It's like a box office event which is going on, and everybody comes and starts seeing this. So because of that also it is said that the secret should not be leaked, that one of these people will just go and spread information that 2 avatars of Vishnu are in earth right now. Okay? That should not be spread among people. Because of which they try to kind of make the interaction as short as possible. And the meaning which comes out here is that the role of Parashurama as an avatar of Vishnu ends and the baton is passed, in the sense that the bow and arrow is passed from Parashurama to Rama, in the sense that now it is the role of Rama to be the avatar of Vishnu, and Parashurama, after this incident where Rama lifted the Parashurama's bow, Parashurama just became a recluse. So Parashurama's role as a Vishnu avatar ended there, and the role of upkeep of dharma now shifts to Sri Rama. This is another interpretation. Right? So it is said that the transference of the essential nature of Bhargava Rama to Dasharatha Rama. So the nature, the Paratvam of Bhargava Rama, which is Parashurama, got transferred to Sri Rama by the transfer of this bow. This is another interpretation. And it is substantiated by some particular verse in the Narasimha Purana which says something like this. Tataf Parashuramasya Deha Nirgatasya Vaishnavam Pashyatam Sarva Devana Tejo Ramam Upavishad. So this particular Narasimha Purana phrase substantiates this claim. So after this incident, Parashurama opts for the elimination of his ascetic merit. So this is basically what was another incident which happened here. So after Rama wielded the bow, he had to fire the arrow somewhere, right? And he was very confused as to where he should fire this particular arrow. And it had to be that Parashurama had to forego something, because he was the one who challenged Rama to this with a lot of pride in himself. So it is said that this arrow was fired in such a way that Parashurama's ascetic merit, all of it got completely washed away. And he annihilated that particular merit of Parashurama. And after that, Parashurama just goes into oblivion. His role as a Vishnu Avatara ended with this incident. So this is the end of the Balakanda. Then we go to the Ayodhya Kanda, where Dasharatha and Rama, Sita, they all go back to Ayodhya. And here there is a lot of description of some of the riches which existed at that time. Right? These are all people these are all kings who lived the most lavish and most luxurious of lifestyles of that time. Right? I'm not describing the nature of or the extent of riches here, but you can imagine that. I mean, they were at the level of Mukesh Ambani of today. Right? It is that they were that rich. They were, and two very rich kingdoms also got married. So that's why later on, when I talk about the Rama, Sita and Lakshmana, in fact, going for the Vanavasa, this all the more very difficult to imagine, because they were accustomed to such riches from their childhood. They always slept in a proper bed. They always had proper food. They were always treated like the son of kings or the daughter of kings. The most lavish and luxurious of lifestyle before going into the 14 years of forest. And now we come to an important juncture where Valmiki uses this particular incident to list out a lot of qualities of Sri Ram. So after a point in time, Dasharatha decides to give up his kingdom, and obviously the eldest son, who was Sri Rama, had to take over the kingdom. And there, this incident is used by Valmiki to give a long list of the qualities of Sri Rama. Yesterday, Dwarakesh pointed out that Rama is someone who has every good quality. There is no good quality which is not in Sri Rama. So, some of the good qualities which come out are that Rama knows all righteousness. He is true to his word and has good character. He has no envy. He has patience. He consoles those who are in troubles. He speaks good words. He has gratitude. He keeps senses under control. Rama is soft-natured, has stable mind, always an auspicious man, and has no envy. He speaks truthful and loving words to all living beings. He worships aged Brahmanas endued with the knowledge of various sciences. By that, his name, glory, and splendor are growing in this world. He is skilled in the use of various weapons known to senses, demons, and men. He has duly concluded his vow of studying the various sciences and has systematically learned all the Vedas along with his branches. So this Veda is basically considered as typically 3 or 4, and his branches, which are the Vedangas. So there are 6 Vedangas. So he was skilled in all of these Veda and Vedangas. So some of his qualities which Valmiki mentions. But I'll not go into what these qualities are, but the thing which we need to understand from this particular description of Sri Rama is that all of these qualities are just encapsulated in his name. And the name Rama, that itself gives you a window to these qualities. And that is one of the meanings given to the Nama Ramo in Ramaha, basically in Vishnu Sahasranam. This is the verse. Ramo Virajo Margo Neyo Nayo Naya Veera Shaktimatam Shreshto Dharmo Dharma Viduttamaha. So the name Rama, this name itself contains all the qualities which this man had. And this particular name, which is called Taraka Mantram or Taraka Mantra. This mantra is considered a very, very powerful mantra, and as I said, it gives you a window to who Sri Rama was as a person. You don't have to grasp everything he did, but just his name is enough. His name is enough to invoke all sorts of happiness in mortals like us. That is the type of meaning which you should infer from here. And this particular meaning is considered by two composers. One is Sri Bhadrachala Ramadas. His Kriti Taraka Mantramu Korina Dorikanu, which I'll sing a few lines now. Then there will be one more Kriti of Saint Tyagaraja. ತಾರಕ ಮಂತ್ರಮು ಕೋರಿನ ದೋರಿಕೆನು ಧನ್ಯುಡನೈತಿ ಓರನ್ನ ನೀರಿನ ಗಾಲುನಿ ದೂತಲ ಪಾಲಿಟಿ ಮೃತ್ಯುಯನಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಯುನ್ನ ತಾರಕ ಮಂತ್ರಮು ಕೋರಿನ ದೋರಿಕೆನು ಧನ್ಯುಡನೈತಿ ಓರನ್ನ ನೀರಿನ ಗಾಲುನಿ ದೂತಲ ಪಾಲಿಟಿ ಮೃತ್ಯುಯನಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಯುನ್ನ ತಾರಕ ಮಂತ್ರಮು ಕೋರಿನ ದೋರಿಕೆನು ಧನ್ಯುಡನೈತಿ ಓರನ್ನ. So this is one Kriti, like I just sung the Pallavi and Anupallavi. There are a lot of charanams where he talks about his own plight, or where he is in jail, was jailed by a king and all that. So that is the story of Bhadrachala Ramadas. Right? So this the name of Sri Rama itself is enough to invoke all the good qualities that you need to live. There's another Kriti by Saint Tyagaraja called Sukhi Evaro, Rama Nama Sukhi Evaro, which says whoever understands the name of Sri Rama, right, which is basically the Taraka Nama, he is the happiest of all. This is the type of song. So it goes like this. Sukhi Evaro Rama Nama Sukhiyavaro Rama Nama Sukhiyavaro Rama Nama Sukhiyavaro 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 Sumukhiyavaro Akhila Saramagu Taraka Nama Akhila Saramagu Taraka Nama Sukhiyavaro Rama Nama Satyamuta Paga Sakala Lokulaku Pratyudai Daiva Yedamuleka Satyamuta Paga Sakala Lokulaku Pratyudai Daiva Yedamuleka Nityam గానముతో నృత్యమైన సుస్వరపు గానముతో నిరంతరము త్యాగరాజనుత నామ ఎవరో రామ నామ. So in this he says that Rama is someone who's anybody who knows and understands the name of Sri Rama, he treats everybody equally with, and he treats every daiva equally. There's no daiva bhedamu like, there's no he understands that there's no difference between gods. So this is one of the meanings which comes in. And so after all this, the coronation date is set, all ready to crown Prince Rama as a king, a new king. But now there is some twist which is going to happen. Everybody is happy because everybody likes Sri Rama, except this one particular old man who does not like Sri Rama, that is Manthara. She is the maid servant of Kaikeyi. So when she tries to, she feels that she now feels very afraid that after Rama becomes a king, Bharata and Kaikeyi will be completely neglected and they will not be given any how the kingdom should be run, or they'll just be completely, their lineage will be completely over with this particular coronation of Sri Rama. And she talked for a lot of time and tried to convince Kaikeyi that you should now not allow this to happen and you should instead make Bharata the king. But what Kaikeyi says after hearing this news, Kaikeyi did not know this news. When Manthara, she came weeping and wailing to Kaikeyi and she started saying all bad things are going to happen, we are doomed. This is the type of thing which she came and said. But to this, first time Kaikeyi said this, Rame va bharate vaham vishesham nopalakshaye tasmatushtasmit yadraja ramam rajye vishekshati. So here it says, I do not see any difference between Rama and Bharata. That is why I am happy that Rama is being anointed for crown by the king. So after hearing this, she says she is ready to give gifts to Manthara for informing this, such a good news that Rama has become king. Because she originally was of a pure mind, that she saw that there is no difference between Rama and Bharata, and she is very happy. And this is a statement which she gives. And she says, I am going to give gifts to you. Thank you for giving me such a wonderful news and all that. Then after that, Manthara, this is another learning which we should take from this particular episode. The words are very powerful. Sometimes words can change our entire perception of life. If we hear it from the wrong person, if we chance to befriend a very wrong and someone of an evil mind, it will become evil. This is the type of message which comes out. Although originally Kaikeyi was actually very happy that Rama is going to become king. But after some time, right, when Manthara tries to talk to her more and more, you are just deluded by just that talk alone. You don't see the truth. Although you originally saw it, after people try to convince you, they try to convince you are not firm in your beliefs. Then you will be led astray by people and you will basically become evil like them. So this is what happened to Kaikeyi. And then she goes, she decides that no, this evil woman is right. I should go and I should also be very sad and I should also just act as if I am going to give up everything if Bharata does not become king. But she has this superpower. Otherwise, how will she convince Dasharatha to give Bharata the kingdom? She has two superpowers, which is basically boons given by Dasharatha to Kaikeyi for one incident which happened. But what happened now is that Kaikeyi is very acting very sad, and she goes to this particular place of the palace where if you are like angry or if you are sad, right, you can go and wail in that particular part of the palace. She goes there, she throws away all her ornaments, all the beautiful ornaments that she had, she just throws them away. And then it is said that those chaplets and ornaments which were thrown away by her were making the earth shine as stars to the sky. So this was a kind of ornament that she had. She threw everything away, and she just tied her braid of hair tightly over her head, wearing soiled clothes. So when you are very either sad or angry, it will just act like this. And she was lying down in that chamber of wrath, which is basically the English translation of the part of the palace where you can go if you are agitated or angry. And she was looking like a Kinnara woman lying down dead. That is the description given. And this is the boon which he asks Dasharatha. Navapancha cha varshani dandakaranyamashritah chira jina jatadhari ramo bhavatu tapasah, which is Navapancha, so 9 plus 5, 14 years. She should be in Dandakaranya. He should be in Dandakaranya. He should stay in Dandakaranya for 14 years. And he should become an ascetic, living like an ascetic. Ramo bhavatu tapasa. He should do tapas in that 14 years. Right? So, how did Kaikeyi get this power of these two boons to Dasharatha? So the first boon was Bharata should become king. Second boon was Rama should go to the forest for 14 years. How did she get these two boons? Right? So there is some backstory for that. So what happened was that there was this famous city called Vaijayata, in which the demon Timidhwaja lived. And then there was also a great demon. The Timidhwaja was also called as Shambhara. So he was a very famous and great demon who had several magic effects. And he defeated all the celestials. So this Shambharasura was a demon who defeated all these celestial beings, and he was threatening to defeat Indra also. So he was trying to wage a war against Devendra. And typically, since Dasharatha was a great king, he also went and fought this war on the side of the Devas. And so this is the another term which Dwarkesh used yesterday, which is called as Nishachara. So all these demons, right, they are more active at the night. There's another example of this in the Mahabharata where the demon Ghatotkacha, he is the one who is on that particular day, he is more active at the night. So although typically wars end at sunset, right, Krishna extended the time so that it goes a little bit into post sunset, so the Ghatotkacha could completely destroy and wreck the army of the Kauravas. So similarly here, these demons, they were killing wounded men. That's not the code of battle. If the man is wounded, you should not go and kill them in the night. But these demons who are more powerful at night, they were doing that. And then this Dasharatha, he also fought this war, and he got wounded, right, and he fell unconscious. And at this time, Kaikeyi saved him. This is what happened. Okay, and after that, Dasharatha became very happy, and he said, "Oh Queen Kaikeyi, I'll give you two boons, and you can ask them whenever you want." So what was the deal? And these were the two boons which Kaikeyi used. Obviously, at this point, everybody was very sad. Dasharatha was shell shocked by these two boons, and obviously, Rama was someone who he followed the path of Dharma. So the Dharma says that you have to listen to your father word by word. Right? Whatever your father says, you have to obey. So that was the type of character which he had, and that was how he was raised. So when Rama got to know this, he said immediately that he has to go. So his father had to gave him the message that you have to go. The thing here, which is very important, although these things happen, is that everybody around him was, the way they spoke was in a very emotional way, where they did not think twice rationally. This is what was the situation. Everybody was emotionally charged. Everybody was so sad that Rama was going to the forest. But Rama, he had a very clear mind. If his father said something, whatever be it, he has to follow it. This was a clear conviction and clear mind that he had when this was announced. Whereas everybody else was grief-stricken, they were very sad, they were very angry at Kaikeyi. They wanted to hurt Kaikeyi, they were angry with Bharata. All these type of feelings everybody else had. But Sri Rama did not hate Kaikeyi. The only thing which he knew was his father told him this, and he had to go and do it. That was the only thing in his mind. And with that, he had to go and talk to his mother about it, because his mother was obviously very, very sad that something like this happens. And here we can see that the kind of relationship with which Rama had with his parents, with both his mother and his father, and also we'll see with his wife and his brother next. Right? These are the kind of relationships which teach us how we should be with our parents, how we should interact with our parents, how our parents should interact with their children. Right? These are the kind of very real messages which we get from this. And this is what Kaushalya says when Rama tells him the bad news. Rama tells her the bad news. Katham hi dhenusvam vatsam gachantam na anugacchati aham tva anuganishyami yatra putra gamishyasi. So here she says, just like a cow follows its calf wherever it goes, so also I shall come with you wherever you go. This is one of the great qualities of a mother, right? Whatever decision the son or the child takes, she is ready to follow it, ready to follow like a cow follows its calf. This is the kind of devotion which Kaushalya had towards Rama. She was ready to follow him wherever he went. And then she also gets very sad, and then she cries a lot to Rama, and she says this, "O son, soon after your departure to a distant forest, a great and incomparable fire of sorrow will generate in my whole body. The wind which flares it up is now you are not able to see that wind which is going to flare it up. My lamentation and grief are the fire sticks. My wailing tears will be the offerings as an oblation to the fire. The choking and anxiety will be a great smoke. The thought that when you would return will generate smoke again. Such a fire of grief will make me emaciated completely and will burn like dry wood by fire in winter." This is the type of situation she is in. She is so grief stricken by this news that she says, "I'll just burn away like a dry wood stick, right? Since you are not there. I'll keep waiting for you to come, but I'll just get burnt in the process." This is the type of mental state which Kaushalya is in. But Rama manages to talk to her. Right? The thing here which is that although people are emotional, right? You have to have this thing to deal with those emotions, talk to people, and come to a consensus here. Right? You have to convince them that I'm going for the good of whatever. I'm going to be fine. And you will see, after 14 years, you will see me back, and I'll come back to you. This is the type of message which Rama gave. And then Kaushalya says, finally she is somewhat better, not as sad, and she says this, "Gachedani mahabaho ksheme na punaragatah nandayishyasi mam putrah samna vakyena charuna." So Rama, so go and come back after 14 years. And then she says, "When will you rejoice with me?" So after 14 years, she'll again wait for that moment where both Rama and Kaushalya, Rama will rejoice with Kaushalya with pleasing and tranquilizing words. This is the quality of Sri Rama, that whatever he speaks is pleasing and tranquilizing to the ear. And Kaushalya is someone who's waiting for these 14 years, and she somehow relents and lets Rama go. And Dasharatha, he is also someone who is very, very saddened by this particular set of events. And he says this. This is actually like slightly out of chronology, where this is after Rama has gone. But since Mata Pita, so I'll say Pita next. He says, he laments to Kaushalya about this, because after Rama goes away, he doesn't want to see Kaikeyi anymore. But he just wants to go and sit with Kaushalya, and he wants to share her grief. This is what he says. "Ramam me nugata drishtihi adhyapi na nivartate natvam pashyami Kausalye sadhu mam panina sprisha." So he says, "O Kaushalya, my sight has extinguished along with Rama and not returned." So a couple of verses before this, it is basically that Dasharatha was able to see even the last traces of dust which Rama's chariot left when they actually went out of Ayodhya. And after those traces of dust disappeared, right, Dasharatha could not see anymore. His sight has extinguished. So this is again related to something which Dwarakesh was talking about yesterday in a slightly different way. Right? Yesterday he was talking about people needing 1,000 eyes to see Rama. But here the situation is, if you don't see him, you lose your eyesight. This is a contrapositive of what Dwarakesh was saying yesterday. To see him, you need 1,000 eyes. But if you don't see him, you lose your eyesight. This is what happened to Dasharatha. And he says to Kausalya, even now I am not able to see you properly. Touch me with your hand. It is in that frail and agitated situation where he loses his eyesight and he asks Kausalya to touch him, saying, I cannot see you, please touch me. This is the type of situation which is. Now let's come to Sita. Now originally Rama wants to go alone, right? He doesn't want to call this any of either Sita or Lakshmana. But again, the important thing is that although Rama is Bhagavan, right, he can take any decision he wants and just go. He doesn't have to ask anybody else's opinion or do anything like that. But it still goes as is customary, right? Before going, you have to talk to all the elders and all whomever is dear to you. So he goes and talks to Sita and tries and tells her that I am going to the forest. You stay here. And then Sita did not agree. And there's a lot of discussion which happened between them. It's him giving reasons as to why she should not come, and her giving reasons as to why she should come. And finally, right, after all this, there's no conclusion as of now. But then Sita says this: Patihina tu yanari nasa shakshyati jivitum kamam yevam vidham rama tvaya mama vidarshitam. So she says this: Me Pita, so my father, the king of Mithila. Right? What will he think of you, right? What will he think of you as a son-in-law? He'll think of you as a woman in the form of a man. So this is the kind of insult which Sita gives Rama at this juncture. And there is one song which I am not going to sing because it is very rare and I have not heard many renditions of it being sung. This composition by Saint Tyagaraja, which is called Ramachandra Need Daya. In this he says, he pleads with Rama, so why are you not giving me Daya, right? Whom are you angry with? And then he says, is it because you were piqued by unpleasant words uttered by your wife? So that particular line in the composition is referring to this incident where Sita utters these words, that you would be thought of by my father as a woman having the form of a man. So after this, somehow Rama gets convinced that Sita should also come along. And then he takes Sita also to the Manavas. And I think somehow I missed the part of Lakshmana. So Lakshmana is again someone who is very close to Rama. Right? So I think it was discussed yesterday that he was the right hand of Rama. So he also had to come, but there was again some sort of discussion whether he should come or not. And finally Rama convinces him to come to the Manavas. Lakshmana convinces Rama that he should come to the Manavas. And then fortunately, I think it was Rama who asked Lakshmana to bring all the bows which Rama has received, which he has, along with him to the forest. At least, if he had left them behind, the war would not have happened. He had no weapons to fight the war. So luckily, to the forest. I think because of that he was able to fight the war. Otherwise, I think he would not have had any weapons to fight. This also happened. And finally, they all leave. Everybody is very sad. All the people of Ayodhya are also very, very sad. Then they go out. So there is only one minister which accompanies them throughout till the last point, which is a minister called Sumantra. And then there is a point where they reach kingdom of Guha, who was a Nishada king. And his kingdom is basically located in the city called as Sringaverapura. And even here, even now the city is called Singraur, which is basically an adaptation of the same name, Sringaverapura, which is slightly near Prayagraj. So here is where he has to cross the Ganga, right? And he doesn't have any way to cross the Ganga. And this is when Guha, right, who was a king of Nishadas, he came to help Rama out. So there is one story which Dwarakesh told me, which I am not sure, he himself is not sure of the source. Basically, Guha, the character of Guha was like someone who was very, very, someone who was very angry at times. He was very gruesome at times. There's one story where apparently she asks his mother, he asks his mother to give her some food. And then once she said, I'll take me 10 more minutes or 15 more minutes to prepare the food. He holds her at gunpoint and asks her to give the food. This was a character of Guha. And somehow is the case that Rama, it's not that Guha went and sought out Sri Rama. It is Sri Rama himself who went and entered this particular kingdom, right? Can be said that Rama was the one who sought out Guha and not the other way around. So this is where the property of Sri Ram of Vishnu, which is called as Neermai. This is the property which comes in where water flows from a higher, area to a lower, higher to lower basically. So this is the character of Sri Rama is above everybody else. But this Guha, although his character was not the best, Rama still came and sought him. And when Guha saw Sri Rama, he was obviously very happy and he wanted to help him in whatever way possible. And he tried saying that I'll give you my entire kingdom. Right? You come and be the king. Right? You are not a hermit. You are supposed to be a king, so you be a king. But then Rama said, no, my father has told me that I have to be an ascetic for 14 years. So I cannot accept anything. I cannot even accept a bed. I have to sleep under a tree. Right? This was the conviction of Sri Rama. So after that, after all this happened, there's not much which Guha could do. So the only help which Guha did to Sri Rama was that they had to cross the Ganga. So Rama gave instructions to Guha saying you have to get a boat to cross the river. And also managed to collect what is called as the latex of a banyan tree. Right? This tying your hair up with the latex of a banyan tree apparently signifies that you are going to do tapas and you are going to go into lead a type of lifestyle of a monk or a hermit. So on reaching the middle of the stream, right, Sita offers praise to Mother Ganga, the deity presiding over the stream. And after crossing the river, all the three halt for the night at the foot of the tree. This is where my part of the story ends. And tomorrow Atharva will continue from where I left off. The set of slokas which there is another very nice set of slokas which is called as the Nama Ramayana. So in this, the entire story of Sri Rama is basically given in a set of slokas which was sung and was made famous by M.S. Subbulakshmi in her edition. It's basically around 10 or 11 minutes. So maybe this is the last few lines of Balakanda and then first few lines of Ayodhya Kanda. It goes like this. भार्गव दर्प विनाशक राम श्रीमद अयोध्या पालक राम राम जय राजा राम राम जय सीता राम. So Bhargava Darpa, Bhargava is Bhargava Rama, who is Parashurama. Darpa is Ahankara, Ghamand in Hindi. Vinashaka Ram, so he destroyed the pride of Bhargava. Srimad Ayodhya Palaka, so he went back to Ayodhya, that is what it says. This is the end of Balakanda. Then Ayodhya Kanda starts. Aganita Gunagana Bhushita Ram Avanita Nayakamita Ram Raka Chandra Samanana Ram Pitrivakya Kanana Ram. So the first line is Aganita Gunagana, uncountably many. Aganita, you cannot count the gunas of Sri Rama. So I spent some time on that, how his name itself invokes the fact that he is Aganita Gunagana. Then the last line is Pitru Vakya Shrita. The Pitru Vakya, whatever the father said, he will follow that to the word. That is the quality of Sri Ram. Now I'll end with this.
Sakyeta Nilayaya Sanaka Muni Pujaya Sarayu Nadi Tira Viharanaya Rakendu Vadanaya Ramya Guna Nilayaya Rajadhirajaya Raghavaya Jayamangalam Nitya Shubhamangalam Janaki Kanta Smaranam Jai Jai Rama Rama.